Hello everyone, and welcome to another Starcraft 2 video. This one's going to take place on Zelnaga Caverns. I'm the red Terran Ketroc spawning in the top right hand position, and saying good luck, have fun is Rohan's, the blue Protoss opponent spawning in the bottom left. And for this video I'm just going to do a couple matches versus Protoss using kind of my new techniques. My new build order for my fast expand where I only get one gas. I find it makes me very 4-gate proof. Moving my first barracks down to the low ground to create a wrap just to buy time, which I find helps a lot. And of course opening 4 barracks with no tech. I don't do my quick tech towards medevacs or ghosts anymore. It's all about getting like a really strong 11-minute push with just straight bio. So we can see how these things work out. Yep, so as per usual, my build does confuse my opponents a lot. Looks like Rohan's is going to be running around, checking the Zelnaga Caverns, and eventually they'll start poking down here, and he's going to look for some sort of proxy barracks, which is kind of nice. And I'm not sure if this was original plan or not, but it looks like he's going to be spending a lot of chrono boost on his gateways. This could be to save himself from proxy, or maybe he just wanted to put on 2-gate pressure anyways. So I can't see my build force that, but it does hamper a Protoss opponent a little bit to not be chrono boosting probes and not to be chrono boosting warp gate tech. Means he won't have a ridiculously strong economy, and he won't have a ridiculously fast 4-gate if you wanted to try that out. So my new builder does get the second barracks really early, it gets the orbital command really early, and it's at the expense of a later fortress. But I still claim this spot, and this command center can't go down. If you want the particulars for this build, in the description I'll put a link to the video where I really go over the build order and whatnot. So Fortress is done now. Even if you send all his first units here, 2 Stalkers and Zealots isn't going to be able to kill the command center. And yeah, he gets free shots on my little wrap there, but if he tries to run around, he gets shot by the Fortress. If he tries to shoot this, he buys me time to get 1 or 2 more Marines out, so my bunker's actually full before he's even able to hit my ramp. Kind of an issue with this map, Zelnaga Caverns, there's lots of room for them to run their units behind you, so Fortress doesn't protect it perfectly. But not a big deal, it just lessens your economy a little bit when he does this. In fact, what I do now is I just, honestly, until I feel I can control this area, I just queue up both my planetary fortress and my orbital command to these mineral patches. I figure it's worth lessening my economy just a little bit, just to make sure all my SCVs I create stay alive. And since I'm building from 4 racks, I'll very quickly be able to take the low grounds, secure it up, and be able to move out all my SCVs. So a couple attempts to get a pylon on the low grounds. He's using the ramp for high ground site, which means he's got to build a pylon nearby. So the plus side for me is I'm able to spot all this stuff. The SCV here I had here wasn't on auto repair, so I almost actually lost that bunker. Not that it would have been that big of a deal, but I don't know. High ground warp in is ready. You can see the fact that he's failed to get up his proxy pylon has completely made him store up tons of resources. So by denying that proxy, his 3 warp gate pressure is not working out well. Canceling that pylon and finally killing this one off. And that's that. Looks like he's going to be throwing on a couple more gateways and his expo to get that money spent. Trying to catch up on the macro. And being annoying with this final stalker once again. Looks like I'm moving all my SCVs to my main base. Normally when I have like a bunker in just 4 units, I'm not strong enough to take the low ground, but had I been thinking straight, I just destroyed his entire army, so these 4 units are definitely strong enough to take the low ground. So I could be harvesting from here. Not quite sure why I didn't think of that, but oh well. The one thing I do fail at in this build is for your gas spending. I've kind of figured out since here how to spend it properly. What you want to do is after you spend it on the fortress, you want to spend it on stim pack, then your +1, then your concussive shell, and that way all 3 upgrades will be done for your 11-minute push. Obviously you gotta spend it on tech labs and marauders as well, but in terms of upgrades, those are the 3 things you want to build in that order. And that way you get a nice +1 stim timing push, and you can't really screw around with you out in the open because you'll have concussive shell. Trying to cut him off here, but he's a little too fast for me. I guess stimming one Marauder just to get a concussive shell on him might have been worthwhile, but actually I don't even think I have stim yet. Oh, nope, just finished stim. Never mind. So I have been supply capping myself a lot, not really implementing this build as perfectly as possible, so I'm actually throwing on a 5th Rax, which is fine. If you don't have perfect macro, sometimes you'll need the 5th Rax to get this push just right. Yeah, like I said, it's still early in this build for me, so I haven't actually still making mistakes. Normally I would like to be pushed out by now, if not at his base, near his base, because the 11-minute mark, that's kind of the time his first Colossus is popping out. He won't have range on it, but yeah, 1 Colossus is no problem. Once he has 3 Colossus and the extended Thermal Lance, then it becomes a problem. You want to hit before then. And this is a great timing for so many reasons. If he went double Forge, you're going to be able to stomp him. If he went Colossus tech and took his 3rd, which is very common for Protoss, I find. I guess it just works out well with your resources to do that sort of build. You'll be able to stomp him. If he failed his 4-gate, lost a lot of units, you'll be able to stomp him with now as well. It's just a really good time to hit a Protoss opponent. And as you can see, he's actually going for Charge Lot. I guess he's going straight to Templar attack, and he's got the double Forge. Stimming coming in, and looks like he's going to make me waste my stim by keeping his units far away, and he's also waiting for Charge Lot technology to finish. However, I did get his double Forge, destroyed both of his upgrades, although my stim went completely to waste. Taking down some probes here. Now he's got charge, so he's going to come in. Just kind of kiting. Trying to get these guys involved as well. Fixing my rally point. At the same time trying to kite back. And he pulls back, wasting my final stim, but I'm kind of okay with that. By the time I stim the 3rd time, these units are looking pretty darn weak. You can see I got a whole cluster of them in the yellow and the orange and the red. But at this point, I have started my tech. Right when I move out is usually the time I just think, okay, now I'll throw down my factory, get the tech started, and maybe throw down my 3rd base as well by the time I get back. Kind of works out well in that while I'm doing that push, my macro is kind of failing a bit, so when I come back, I'll have the stored up resources to throw down my command center, throw down some more infrastructure, a couple more barracks here, and get my tech all going. You know, get my 2nd engineering bay, get my armory, get my Ghost Academy, and get out the medevacs. And this works well because I lost those. Well, I didn't lose units, but I got a lot of them like hurt in the orange and the red, and yeah. So when I pull them back to my base and preparing for the next attack, I'll actually have medevacs coming out quite soon to heal up all the injured army I have from the first push. So I still don't really use my factory, so sending it out in a little scout pattern here, although I did send it in range of the Xel'Naga Tower, which is not the smartest idea by me. So that's getting picked away at. It's trying to hide on the high ground. Can't see me. So he swings around, I head back to the low ground. I guess I'll speed it up a touch, not a whole lot going on here. But so first 2 medevacs are out, and you can see healing up a good portion of my army. And with the 3rd medevac, I should be completely in the green. And moving out to take my 3rd. Well, looks like he's checking my natural 3rd. I think for Terran, it must be much more common to take theirs as your natural 3rd. It's nice to have a 4 position with Planetary Fortress. And here he comes moving in. It's kiting the Zealots a little bit. His units are still 0-0 because of losing the double Forge, and yeah, that's game. Looks like he didn't even get to his Templar tech. I mean, that is the risk you take if you try to skip Robo and go straight to Templar. You want to probably at least mix in Immortals. Maybe get out a couple early Archons, just something to have you survive until you got Templar with Psystorm. But yeah, that was a pretty good game. You can see that was like extreme 2-gate pressure, where he tried to hit hard before warp gate tech. He got down 2 gateways and spent all his chrono boost on them to get a lot of stalkers in my face. But you can see with that low ground wall off and the early bunker, I had more than enough to hold my ramp, and obviously the fortress can hold itself. And then, yeah, that 11-minute push, I guess it was more like 12 minutes and 30 seconds I did here, but I wouldn't go much later than 12 minutes at the absolute latest. It just hits Protoss at such a weak time. Your army is so strong with +1 in stim. I actually even failed in that. My +1 finished right after my push was done, so it can be so much stronger than this. But this still looked ridiculously powerful. If we go back to when I pushed, which is probably about 12 minutes, right? Yeah, so here the attack is starting. If we bring up the units tab, you can see I'm ahead in army count by 20, and our harvester counts are equal. So I get both of his double forges, which is huge in itself, and then by the time we leave, the harvester count is 42 over 27. Army count 81 over 51. So I gained 10 in army and gained 10 more of a lead in army, and just like completely obliterated his income, as well as the very important part of his tech. And yeah, obviously not all Protoss is going to have their double forge sitting out right out front, but if he didn't have the double forge there, that means I would have been able to fight all his stalkers, or I could have sniped this nexus, or I could have gone in deep and killed all these probes. I mean, killing those forges is actually probably a pretty dumb target when I have everything stimmed up, but yeah, no matter what, something good was going to happen at that point, because I had such a strong army for that point in the game. So with that, we'll jump into one more replay, and then we'll end this video. Alright, so here's another match on Typhoon Peaks on the red Terran spawning in the bottom left-hand position. In the top right, we have ADC, the blue Protoss. So I guess we'll just speed up a touch, as it's going to be more or less the same opener as last game. You know, the single gas, fast expand, 15cc, fortress, all that good jazz. So there's the command center, and the gas, and barracks 1. And then barracks 2. Actually trapped his probe on the inside, so he doesn't even know about my expansion yet. Then I get my orbital, and then I throw down the engineering bay, another barracks. Probably about time I can get that planetary, and we're in good shape. Meanwhile, he's gone for a very standard opener, which is going to be, 3-gate expand. Using some chrono boosts on his gateways. That's not his first chrono boost he's done, and did some chrono boosts on his warp gate tech. And I think he even throws down another chrono boost on his warp gates. So he's getting all his bang for his buck out of these 3 warp gates. He's enhanced them with chrono boost, so they're more like a 3.5 gate push we're going to be facing here. So it may not be a 4 gate, but it's still a good number of units. We're at the 7-minute mark here, and he's got 6 stalkers and a whole ton of sentries, and he's going to use them well. So it may not be the most units I've ever seen, but at the same time, it's going to be a very good push. First of all, he's going to poke in, see the fortress, move back without taking a single shot, and then directly beeline straight to the ramp. So fortress did not help me at all, and he's right on the ramp. Going up the ramp, keeping these units out of range more or less. Throwing down another one so I can't repair this bunker. And yeah, it looks like he's walking away. He's only got 3 sentries left, so he lost 2 of them, and only 4 stalkers left, so he lost 3 of those. And I go to replace the bunker, I'm like, I think I'm already ahead, so I just make a supply depot instead. So very well implemented 3-gate push there. He took no damage from the fortress, hit the ramp immediately, and did some good force fielding to block my repair and to block off some extra units. But I'm just so much stronger at this point in the game. I'm not saying this build's 4-gate proof. Obviously, building a ton of units with a proxy pylon is going to be a lot more units than I'll have. But this just feels ridiculously stronger than my old build. Some sort of push like that would like completely bypass my fortress and walled me off from repairing my bunker, I'd almost always die to that. I would just rely on the fact that a lot of Protosses wouldn't be that smart. So here we go, we got the production tab, and this is the order you want to do it in. You got the stim pack upgrade first, then the +1 upgrade next, and then you can custom shells nice and quick. You can pick that up just before you push out if you want, or you can get it earlier when you can afford it. And yeah, just trying to build as much as I can for my 4 gates with keeping my money low. It looks like I got my second and third gas a little earlier than I like. I usually like to throw those down just as I'm pushing out. Same with the factory, I throw that down just as I push out. But you kind of want to hit around the 11-minute mark. So now that we've passed the 10-minute mark and I still got travel across the screen, it's about time for me to push, I think. Kind of also based on this. Actually, this is the timing you want to base it on. When your infantry 1 upgrade finishes, that's when you want to be arriving, or at least be halfway across the map. And there I am pushing out, so you can see that's going to time pretty well. I got just 20 seconds left on that, so in BattleNet time, that means I'll be there just about perfectly timed. A little supply gap, that's unfortunate, but that's alright. Obviously my max is going to fail. Kind of went a little bit A-move-ish there, so I got a little lucky in that these force fields allow me to retreat my units. I lost maybe 2 or 3 units there, I didn't have to, but it's not like I got cut in half and he stole half my army. So now I'm going to be a little bit smart about it, and this is, I'm going to slow it down. This is kind of how you want to micro this. You poke in, you move back. You poke in, you move back. And you kind of want to look for bad force fields. Like notice, like this is the original spot I was, so I throw down force fields there, but since I was moving back, now he has to throw them in the back. But I'm moving forward and back, and if we look at it here, this is a very poorly set up. He's completely out of energy now. I think he's got maybe 1 more force field left in him. Yeah, 1 force field left if he wants to use it. And he hasn't done much. Like this wall off in the back, it only trapped my 3 reinforcements. Everything else is still in the front. This force field's kind of in the way, but it's only 1 force field. I can, you know, micro these units to get them all in range of attacking, which I'm going to do here. Just move this handful at the bottom forward. A little dancing going on here, so I'll move these units forward. One's in the back, I pulled to the front. Now it's just Stim Marauders versus Stalkers, which is not the spot you want to be in as Protoss, especially when I got the +1 as well, so we're doing 22 damage per attack. There we go. I'm in on his base, he's forced up to the top of his ramp, and I still got reinforcements flooding in. I really wanted to get to this point to cut off those Stalkers from being able to walk straight in, but I can't quite get there. That's alright, I'm still going to kill a crap load of these probes. And he pushes down, and with just Zealots and probes, it's going to be 1 last stim, and I can kite these guys forever. And that's GG. ADC leaves the game. And he seemed a little weak there. Yep, looks like he was going for Double Forge too. Double Forge, especially when you see Bio from Terran, is getting really common these days. Protoss have kind of figured out if you upgrade your gateway units, you can obliterate Terran Bio. And then, you know, adding Colossus or Psystorm after that, it's a complete joke. Armor upgrade is so sick versus Terran Bio, because you kind of reliant on Marines, and Marines attack is quite low, so armor has a huge effect. Makes the Zealots super strong, as, you know, even with +1, my Marines are only doing 7 damage per attack, and my Marauders are only doing 11 damage per attack, which is kind of small damage per attack. And they already come with 1 armor, so that'll get up to 2. The other reason this was so one-sided, I saw this previously in my replay. When the attack first started, I just finished my +1, and then when I obliterated his entire army, that's right when his 1/1 upgrades finished from his forge. So just very unfortunate timing for the Protoss, and that's why you want to hit around the 11-minute mark. I wouldn't be much later than that. I think I said like at least be there before 12 minutes, but I think 12 minutes is even too late. You really want to be pushing at around 10 minutes and arriving around 11. And that's why I don't tech. I think this is a very powerful timing. Just go straight Bio, like spend every single penny you have for getting Marines and Marauders. And then once you've done this 11-minute push, then you can fall back, you know, get the medevacs up, heal up the remnants of your army, then start working on all that other stuff, getting your armory and ghosts and Vikings or whatever you happen to need. The other good advantage of this push is you're going to get if you haven't been scouting him, you're going to get a pretty good idea of what he's up to just by his composition. Like not seeing his first Colossus out in the field. I know he didn't go straight Robotech, so it's going to be double forge. It's going to be Templar Tech. It's going to be a fast third base. Although if he went for a fast third base, it's probably going to be over. Yeah, so with that, those are probably the two best replays I had to show the power of this build and the timing push. Because I still haven't played a whole lot of TvPs. I played maybe 10 since I've restarted this thing. Yeah, so we'll jump into the thumbs up fact of the day. Thanks, everyone.
My patience is limitless. Release the interceptors.
Alright, for today's thumbs up fact of the day, I'm going to go over a feature of the refinery. This also works for extractors and assimilators, so all three races. So I'm going to build a refinery here. And you can see I have 2 idle workers. And while this refinery is in production, I'm going to take these 2 idle workers and right-click them on the refinery. Now while they're moving, they're not idle. Once they get there, they become idle again, obviously, because they're just sitting up against incomplete structure. However, watch what happens when the refinery finishes. Refinery finishes, no more idle button in the corner, and those guys have automatically gone to mining. So yes, you can actually move your workers to harvest from a Vespian before the structure is complete. And that actually has some good practical use. Like if you come back to your base and while you're macroing and you see you have a refinery more or less like almost complete, you can move your SCVs there, and then you don't have to worry about like remembering to come back in 10 seconds later. You can go on to what you're doing. And just personally for myself, I'm thinking of my mass Raven build. Like usually at the point when I'm trying to get all my expansions up, it's the same time I'm doing a lot of attacking with my Ravens, the same time the Zerg is freaking out and probably counterattacking me. So there's a lot going on at that time, so if I can set up an expansion and just get my gas fully populated before the refineries are even complete, just get it pre-set up that I have 3 SCVs on each, then I don't have to worry about coming back here to get my Vespian production going. It's Vespian's what really matters when I'm doing those expansions, not minerals. I'm always floating like 5k minerals, and I just use them for unupgraded Marines anyways, so yeah, this is something I learned recently, and it's something I'm definitely going to implement, and I think it's something useful you can always throw in there. Every time you see your refineries more or less done, just move over the 2 SCVs to max out that early gas mining. And with that, we'll call at the end of the thumbs up fact of the day. Thank you everyone, and goodbye.